Hello everyone, my name is Guanjiang. It's my great honor to give a presentation here. The title of the paper I would like to present is Evaluation and Analysis on Quantification of Government Policy on Energy Saving and Emission Reduction, illustrated by the example of 17 cities in Shandong province. To start with, here is the outline about my presentation, which is divided into 7 parts totally. In the first part, I would like to present the information about the background and the literature review. About the background, as we all know, with the acceleration of the industrialization in China, smog weather and the depletion of natural resources need urgent solutions, right? Since the 11th five-year plan, the government of China has set clear targets for energy conservation and emission reduction. And actually the achievement is really remarkable. So the related government departments play a key role in energy saving and emission reduction. However, there are still some obstacles. For example, there are some demerits in the policy standardization system. As for the relevant references, mainly include these following 3 aspects in this paper. In terms of energy saving and emission reduction, policy quantification, and the performance evaluation method, which is a DA method. Then I would like to introduce the construction of causal chain in this paper, which is foundation for the construction of the indicator system. This picture is causal chain in this paper utilized. Because this paper mainly focuses on the research of municipal government departments, which are led by highest authority of China. It is shown that the top part of the picture, as you can see. And in the middle of this picture, there are 6 channel chains about motivation of the government departments, which is related to the introducing of energy saving and emission reduction policies. Firstly, about the first causal chain, because the management efficiency can be improved by the professional departments with clear rights, sense of responsibilities, and some specific goals. So the government departments should set up some specialized agencies for energy saving and emission reduction, and the departments also need to definitely define the responsibilities of each relevant staff in the government departments. Okay, as for the second causal chain, by using mandatory administrative measures, the level of energy consumption and pollution emission in the relevant region could decline. So it is a really effective policy tool in China, especially when the problem of energy consumption and pollution is really serious. In this situation, government departments tend to adopt such policy tools. And in the third causal chain, in order to solve the information asymmetry between government and enterprises. Government departments could require enterprises to disclose relevant information and get the public to conduct supervision. Finally, due to the fact that the energy saving and the emissions reduction policies derived from the market failure, okay, which is caused by the externality of resources and the environment and the attribute of public goods. So the market intervention is really necessary, including these three aspects, which is physical taxation and financial measures and the price and the cost measures, which are the causal chain 4, 5, and 6 respectively. Finally, at the bottom of the picture, several policy targets are listed. Okay, basically, this causal chain is the basic idea of the paper. All of the discussions in this paper are around it. Move on now to the indicator construction and quantification standards. In order to reflect the causal chain system, we take the policy level, policy measures, and policy objectives as quantitative indicators of government policy, and they are also the evaluation indicators for the DA model. Basically, the policy level is an indicator that describes legal effectiveness and the form of government policies on energy saving and emission reduction. And the policy measures refers to the methods and it used by the government to achieve the effects of energy saving and emission reduction in policies. As for the policy objective, it refers to the targets and that the government wants to achieve when formulating the policies. Then I will show three tables to show some details of these three indicators. The table 1, policy level quantitative standards. It shows quantitative standards of policy level given the administrative levels of government departments, the administrative levels of the policy maker, and the policy types. Then the policy level indicators are formed. And the table 2 shows specific quantitative standards for policy measures. Okay. And the table 3 is specific quantitative standards for the policy objective. It's after completing the quantifications of policies. We have obtained these three indicators, okay, policy level, policy measures, and the policy objective. Therefore, in this part, this paper will obtain the intensity of energy saving and emission reduction policies by utilizing the model. As we can see, the model on the right of the slide, okay, the policy level, policy measures, and the policy objective, these three indicators are all output indicators. So we could use the DAV model that does not require the explicit inputs for policy evaluation. And the next part, I would like to give the evaluation results. Firstly, we show the I would like to show the table 4, the model results of these three indicators. As we can see, in this table, we can find that Jinan and Qingdao play a nice leading role as a benchmark, right? And their score are really high. Okay, and compared with the other cities, we can notice that the other cities have a large gap, right? As for example, as for Laiwu and Binzhou, their score is really really low, right? Based on the policy document, it could be found that the government departments of Laiwu and Binzhou, these two cities, introduce less superior fields, and the lack of clear power and responsibility is also an important reason to explain why their score is relatively low. And compared with the results of these 2 years, 2015, 2016, the ranking of 10 cities totally in 2016 was higher than that of the 2015, or remain unchanged. As is shown in table 5, by referring to the data, we could find that compared with 2015, the total scores of these three aspects of the cities in the ranking increased significantly in 2016. Okay, we can compare. And then we back to the table 4. There are other 7 cities ranking have dropped. And also in the table 5, we could find that the total scores of all indicators in the 7 cities either declined slightly or remained unchanged. Overall, we also found that compared with 2015, the scores of all evaluation indicators in all cities increased significantly in 2016, which means the formulation of energy conservation and emission reduction policies in Shandong province has been progress. Okay, in the final part, in this part, we further analyze the policy effects of energy saving and emission reduction policies by utilizing the multiple regression model. And this slide shows specific variables this paper used, including these 4 aspects. And this paper estimated the following 3 totally regression equations respectively. So specifically, based on the first regression equation, the second equation introduced some control variables, and in the third equation, we further control the variables to further consider the impact of policy intensity. And the results are shown in this table. What should be noticed is that the Py, the coefficient of Py represents the influence impact of the energy consumption pollution level on energy saving and emission reduction effect. And it should be noticed that the energy consumption pollution level is in the previous period, and the emission reduction effect is in the current period. For the regression equation 1 without control variables, okay, the results indicates that the energy consumption pollution in the previous period has significantly hindered the effect of energy saving and emission reduction in the current period. And combined with regression equation 2, it could be concluded that the energy consumption pollution degree will continue to increase in 2016 without controlling. Well, in 2017, the difficulties of all cities in energy saving and emission reduction will be slightly alleviated. And comprehensively considering the regression equation 1, 2, 3, the coefficient of x represents the influence of the policy intensity like in one period on the effect of energy saving and emission reduction in current period. And from the results, we could know the enhancement of policies has a significant impact on the effect of energy conservation and emission reduction. And in the final part, I would like to give 3 policy suggestions. The first is to strengthen the inter-regional links and the strategic construction of energy saving and emission reduction policies. The second is to strengthen the effects of energy saving and emission reduction policies. And the third is to introduce foreign capital actively and promote economic development. Okay, that's all. Thanks for your attention and listening.